Our Amazon relationship. We've been together for nearly 30 years. They are our largest customer, but they're not our most profitable customer.
Let's get into today's video. Let's talk about here, the Caller Times. This is one of the articles from USA Today that a lot of people are going off of for UPS, cutting around 20,000 jobs. And they're saying due to new or increased tariffs, UPS is cutting around 20,000 jobs. And I'm here to say that the tariffs is a part in their decision. But looking back on this and watching this from the sidelines, I would say the bigger impact, of course, is Amazon and them just taking control of being their biggest customer, but not being profitable for them. And so they were growing with Amazon at the time. And now they realize that with paying their drivers way more money and just with not making the profits they should make off of their biggest customer, they grew big with Amazon, and now they're going to close down a lot of buildings and 20,000 jobs because they're realizing that it's not worth working with them, right? That's how many times have you as an owner operator worked with a shipper and you're hoping that it's going to build more relationships and you build around them, finding out that at the end of the day, it's about making money. It's about making profit for your business. You can't make $20,000 doing drops and picks, but at the end with the fuel expenses and everything, you only made $100, right? At that point, it's just not worth it. So that's the big problem that UPS is working with. And if you don't watch the rest of the video, that's fine. The big question I have for all the UPS feeder drivers out there are, when 73 buildings shut down, what does that do to your job? Do they just shift you around? Do you still have a job with them as a truck driver? Or does that mean that your job becomes obsolete as well? Or you have to go back in and reapply for something else? My truckers, comment down below. Let me know how that works. But yeah, UPS cutting around 20,000 jobs. What's going on, Mud Truckers? Welcome, Mud Trucker News. Email us at muthatruckernews@gmail.com. Let's have this conversation here. And if you are a UPS driver, please let me know, especially a feeder driver, right? They say there's over 128,000 drivers for the company. And so I want to know what you guys think about this. A lot of the headlines are blaming it fully on the tariffs. And I've been following UPS very closely. And I'm here to tell you that, yes, the early stages of uncertainty for the tariffs is definitely something that they are thinking about. But the big thing has to be this Amazon contract. United Parcel Service expected to cut 20,000 jobs and 73 buildings by late 2025 in an attempt to become more nimble. Okay, so UPS announced the layoffs of April 29th as part of its first quarter earnings report. So I'll show you guys a link of the earnings report. This announcement comes after companies plan to reduce its deliveries for Amazon, a partnership which brought in 11.8% of UPS's overall revenue in 2024. Carol Tome, the CEO of UPS, already stated in January that they were going to cut 50% volume that they were working with Amazon. And the reason why is because they just weren't making enough money.
About our Amazon relationship. We've been together for nearly 30 years. They are our largest customer, but they're not our most profitable customer. And the contract with Amazon came up for renewal in 2025, so we stepped back to take a look at where did we want to take this business going forward. Because if we didn't take action, it would have diminishing returns. So we looked at a number of different alternatives and decided that the best thing to do would to accelerate a glide down of their volume, taking it down by more than 50% by June of 2026.
There's just not enough profit there sometimes. And I think that's the problem. Even as an owner-operator of a small fleet, tell me this, how many times have you done a job for a big company, or if you own a small fleet or small business and you do work with a big company hoping that it's going to bring something greater for your business, but at the end of the day, you're just cutting yourself, you're running on a hamster wheel, and it's really just not worth the money. If you take a load right now that pays even $20,000 for the load, but you got to do so many drops and picks that the expenses of that is $19,900, is making $100 profit worth it. And that's the problem that I see UPS is running with. In early January, they already cut 12,000 jobs. Let's go back a little further when the Teamsters and Sean O'Brien gave the best contract that they ever gave to UPS, they stated.
We are approaching the final hours of negotiations with UPS for a new agreement. We are talking about the largest collective bargaining agreement in North America. The Teamsters proudly represent more than 340,000 full and part-time workers at UPS. Across all classifications and in every region in this country, we're going to leave nothing on the table for our members. From the beginning, the Teamsters have been clear. We will win the best agreement in our history at UPS. This contract will be a defining moment for organized labor. The Teamsters will take on corporate America and win historic gains for hundreds of thousands of workers. Or UPS will put itself on strike, triggering the largest single employer strike in American history.
I don't work for the company, so if you're a UPS driver, tell me, was that the best contract ever? Yeah, they gave the best contract, but also they've been letting go drivers more than ever. And so here it says 20,000 jobs cut will be accompanied by the closure of 73 leased and owned buildings by the end of June 2025. UPS expects that the reduction in overall business and reach reduce the company's expenses by $3.5 billion. This cost savings initiative has been dubbed Network Reconfiguration and Efficiency Reimagined and expected to last until 2027, reported by the Caller Times. Quote, "The actions we are taking to reconfigure our network and reduce costs across our business could not be timelier," said Carol Tome, UPS Chief Executive Officer. "The macro environment may be uncertain, but with our actions, we will emerge as an even stronger, more nimble UPS." So I'm telling you, the tariffs, I'm sure, are a play here because even with Amazon being their biggest customer, how many shipments come in play at Amazon when it comes to being overseas from China, right, in Asia. So I'm sure there's a big consideration for the tariffs. I'm telling you, they've been on this path to downsize their company for a very long time. With the Teamsters getting that really great contract, they said, for the UPS drivers and employees. UPS didn't want to pay that, right? So that's one thing. Number two, I'm sure they want to automate more of their buildings so they can have less workers. And number three, looking at this now, Amazon became such a big player for them, but it's not profitable. And so they're running into a big issue, right? It says here, quote, "We are continuing to review our network and may identify additional buildings for closure," the business wrote in a statement. The company has pointed a new or increased tariffs and changes in general economic conditions in the U.S. or internationally for the jobs and building cuts. So when you look at this, there are over 128,308 drivers for the company. I want to hear from the feeder drivers from these 73 buildings, and plus or added more from the end of the year, they've stated. How many jobs does this affect? Or do the drivers just move on to different terminals or buildings to work for?